In this video, I wanted to cover 5 things I learned in my teenage years that I think have had a really big difference in my life, that I think have really transformed me, my career, and kind of getting myself into the position that I'm in right now. These 5 skills, if learned at any age, will be super valuable, but if you're watching this in your teens or in your early 20s, this is like the perfect video for you, and you should watch it until the end as you're young, you're early on in your journey. So picking up any of these skills is just going to increase your chances of success in your own life, whether that be on a personal level, starting a business, or even getting a job in your career, financially. There's just so many different things that these skills will help out with. So the first skill you should get a basic understanding of is graphic design. So why is graphic design an important skill? Well, number one is that Photoshop can help you get a job. For those teens watching this, or those in their early 20s who are going to be graduating university soon, you're going to be starting your career in a few years' time, and learning graphic design with a free tool like Canva or paid software like Photoshop can be a great skill to help you get a job. Many jobs require Photoshop skills, and this is especially true with design roles like graphic design, web design, or even if you're a user interface designer. A lot of marketing roles also prefer someone who can work efficiently with Photoshop. I know for the marketing jobs I've had in the past, being able to create graphics for social media, the company website, and more kind of really helps you stand out against other applicants. And sometimes I've been told by sort of my manager was that having those Photoshop skills was the thing that made them choose me over another applicant who didn't have Photoshop skills. The third reason why you should learn graphic design is that you can make money with Photoshop. Once you learn Photoshop, you can make money in a variety of ways, just like you can with something like video editing. There are plenty of freelance job opportunities out there for retouching images with Photoshop. You can reach out to YouTubers or content creators and essentially offer your work for free for designing their thumbnails, for example, and then eventually turning that into a paid gig. So how did I learn graphic design? I learned graphic design simply by watching YouTube tutorials, and that's what I would recommend that you do. I've actually made some videos myself, which you can find on my channel or by clicking the link in the description below. It's one of my playlists that has all of my tutorials in it. So I started making sort of thumbnails for my YouTube channel when I was around 14, and I just sort of improved over the years, and now I kind of know Photoshop like the back of my hand. So how can you start to develop this skill? I'd say if you want to develop your graphic design skills, I'd recommend checking out a free tool called Canva. It's basically a free version of Photoshop that you can use in your web browser. You just play around with that tool, watch some YouTube tutorials, and eventually you'll want to move on to something more powerful like Photoshop. You'll start to learn sort of the rules of graphic design and when you can actually break those rules, and yeah, you'll just naturally start to improve as time goes on. It's kind of the only way that you will improve with graphic design. It's like any skill, the more you practice, the better you'll get. And yeah, I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and so my sort of thumbnails have improved over the years. And when I first started, they were pretty bad. You just slowly will learn different things, and yeah, even now to this day, I will still go ahead and look at YouTube tutorials. I don't know everything. It's kind of very similar to people who do coding. They can be coding for 15 years and they'll still be Googling every 5 minutes to kind of work out what the solution is to this problem. So don't beat yourself up if you don't feel like graphic design, clicks immediately for you. I'm colorblind and I still do graphic design. So it's just about kind of not seeing them as problems and finding solutions to get over this and continue to learn. The second skill that I think that you should learn if you are a teenager or in your early 20s is video editing. So why is video editing an important skill? I think video editing is an important skill because in the modern world, most people don't know how to video edit, and having the ability to even know just the basics will have a huge impact on your career and personal life. You may think it's not worth your time to sort of learn how to edit videos, but video is becoming more and more important in our society for communicating ideas. Most social media platforms use video due to how engaging it is for their users. Video is sort of the best type of media to advertise your services if you're a freelancer or a business owner, you know, to advertise your album if you're an artist, you know, a product you're selling, or an online business, for example. Being able to show what it is that you want to put out into the world in a video is just like the best way of doing it, compared to something like text where you're just describing something. People need to see it, they need to see how things work. Having video and sound together is just so much more impactful. There's been so many different studies into this, kind of like why customers purchase certain things, and video is one of the strongest ways of advertising. So being able to video edit is pretty good. Simply having this skill in your skill set can have a positive impact on your life through it being an in-demand skill that people will pay good money for. You know, you can do this as a freelancer, or you can even launch your own business. You know, it's a skill that will save you money, as you can edit videos yourself as opposed to paying someone. If you're into making YouTube videos or travel films, or you just want to express yourself creatively, this is a good skill to pick up, as the quality of your videos will improve dramatically. I should probably say dramatically, not dramatically. I don't know what happened there, but clearly my brain's not right today. But most people don't know how to video edit, and there's always going to be a demand for it. And the demand seems to be growing as the world moves more and more towards video. If you need to make some extra money to save for a house or to pay the rent, freelance video editing is an easy way to grab some spare cash fast through websites like Fiverr and Upwork. It's a skill that a lot of employers value a lot, even though you may not be applying for a job that requires video editing. Whenever I've interviewed for marketing jobs, they always value this skill and ask questions about it. And I believe that it kind of has been a factor in why I've been able to work in marketing for a number of years. You know, it's a pretty easy skill to learn as well. I think a lot of people look at video editing and think it's quite complicated, but you can pick it up pretty easily, especially the basics. You know, a single day or even just a couple of hours following YouTube tutorials or a course on Skillshare will have you covered on like 80% of the edits that you would want to make to a video. So how did I learn it? Well, I started making YouTube videos when I was 12. You know, these were videos where I performed magic and made computer tutorials, and I just began editing in Windows Movie Maker back then, and then I kind of like moved up to Camtasia Studio and then Sony Vegas. You know, Sony Vegas was where things really started to change due to sort of the power of that program. It's a bit more complicated compared to things like Windows Movie Maker. And yeah, it was just a lot more advanced, you know, compared to that free basic software that you could get online. I started watching many YouTube videos, and through these tutorials, I started to kind of like find my own style. I started to make creative decisions of my own. And you know, this will naturally happen to you as you start to learn more about kind of like not how to just make cuts in clips and kind of just put them together in a certain order, but you'll start to take into consideration the story that you're telling, how you pace your videos, how the music and sound effects and on-screen graphics sort of change the perception of the story of video. And once you get to that point, that's where video editing starts to become fun, because you're really then in control of how you tell this narrative. Eventually, I moved on from Sony Vegas to Adobe's Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro. These are sort of the two video editing programs that I would recommend learning to edit in now, as they are the most powerful programs out there today. You know, if you want to go ahead and develop this skill, I would say you need to get your hands on the free trial version of Premiere Pro or Final Cut for say 30 days. And yeah, just follow like a YouTube playlist teaching you the basics of the course, or even going on something like Skillshare and just taking a course. You know, I'm currently in the process of putting together a Skillshare course for Premiere Pro, so check out the description for that link once it's out. The third skill that you should really look into sort of studying and bringing into your talent stack is public speaking, and essentially speaking to a camera. So why is speaking to a camera such an important skill? Being able to communicate through video or articles is an important skill, simply because it shows your understanding for a particular topic that you may be discussing. You know, having the ability to explain and teach a client, a co-worker, or a boss has tremendous upside. You know, if you can speak clearly and in a way that gets your point across, that doesn't make you boring to listen to, or you know, it kind of makes you seem smarter, you seem more confident, and you will just get more opportunities come to you more often than it would for someone who was shy. I'm sure you've probably seen this happen in your life so many times, where someone is very talented but they're a shy person and they're just overlooked for someone who's more passionate and loud and speaks their mind, which can be quite frustrating if you are that shy person, which is why I feel like you should try and develop these skills of speaking to the camera, which will help you with something like public speaking. When you're putting yourself out there online and speaking to a camera just like this, it helps build that skill to grow an audience online, which you can obviously dramatically change your life, but it also bleeds over into public speaking, as you know, you're addressing an audience, whether that be here on the camera or public speaking where you're out on stage and you're speaking to like 400 people. I've done public speaking in the past, and it's really simple, as sort of the way that I address you is the same way that I would address them. The only difference is that I can see that audience, and if I make a mistake, I can't edit it out. So that can obviously make you a little bit more nervous, but it's kind of the same way. I just think that, you know, you're vocalizing, you're speaking, these are presentation skills, you know, you're using your hands. These things will just naturally translate to speaking on stage, or even if it was speaking inside of a business, speaking to a client or speaking to your co-workers and presenting a report. All of these things can help you out and make you stand out yet again against your peers, and can help you, you know, go up the corporate ladder. Putting yourself out there is scary at first, but the upside of getting over those nerves and speaking to the camera, even if you do it for a few months and you give up, you know, you may not have an audience, but you would have developed those skills. Once you know how to present yourself and speak like this, you just seem smarter, you seem more confident, you will get opportunities that shy people won't. You're essentially putting yourself out there where, you know, people will see you. I've worked with huge international companies and business owners simply because they saw my YouTube videos and offered me the chance to speak in public, as they believed that I had the ability to do it, even when I'd never spoken on stage before. So how did I learn it? Well, it's very simple. It was just through making these videos. You know, I started when I was a teenager, and I was just pretty scared of speaking on camera. You know, I was quite a shy person. I was bullied as a teenager and as a kid. So I was kind of very introverted, very quiet. I never really spoke to the camera, but over time you do start to come out of your shell, and it's a little bit easier to speak to a camera. And I remember when I first started making videos, I was sweating, you know, my heart was beating out of my chest, and yeah, I was just so nervous. I was starting to stumble. I was like stuttering as I tried to speak, and I remember it to this day, kind of like hitting record and kind of just starting to make YouTube videos. And for me, it's been one of the best decisions of my life. You know, over time you naturally improve and it just becomes a familiar feeling. So how can you start to develop this skill? You know, just start speaking to the camera on your phone. If you don't have a camera, just start speaking to your phone. You know, it might be awkward, it might be really cringy, you might not want to even look back at the recording, but that's completely normal. And that's kind of how I was at the start, but it probably will be really bad as well. Like, let's not beat around the bush. If it's your first time doing it, it's probably going to be bad, but that's completely fine, as that's where everyone starts at. Even the biggest YouTubers of all time, just go ahead onto their YouTube channel and sort their video by the oldest. Go and look at their like first 5 videos. You will see how awkward and bad and just terrible that they were speaking to the camera, addressing the audience. And you'll be able to compare them to where they are now, and you'll see such a huge shift. And that only happens when you're consistent with making videos and being more comfortable on camera. And like I say, all of that stuff goes over into public speaking as well. A lot of the biggest public speakers in the world were terrible at the start too. It's just like every skill. So yeah, just start to get out there, speak to your camera, start to practice, and maybe eventually you'll start to make YouTube videos. So the next skill that I learned that I think that you should learn is photography. So why is photography an important skill? Photography is a great skill to learn because everyone now thinks that they are a photographer simply because they have a camera attached to the back of their phone. It can actually be quite frustrating for a lot of professional photographers because they lose out work because they think, oh yeah, I can shoot your wedding photos. I have a camera on the back of my phone. And this has actually happened. And a lot of pro photographers get told that they're too expensive when their rates are quite low. And yeah, it's just the way that we are as a culture right now. But learning how to actually take great photographs with a real camera with different types of lenses, and kind of understanding the rule of thirds, different compositions, how to edit your photos in programs like Photoshop and Lightroom, is a great skill to have and can really elevate your skills when it comes to, say, marketing, or even on a personal level, improving your own like Instagram feed if you want to be kind of vain about it. It's a great skill to learn, and it's one of those things where over time it's going to essentially just improve naturally, because you yourself will be taking photographs for basically the rest of your life. You know, learning how to take great photos is really good if you're, wanting to capture memories of your friends and your families. So there's many reasons why you should learn photography, and I'm just going to take you through some of them right now. Again, it's important to learn this skill so that you can take better photos to promote your business or your side hustle. Photographs are worth more than 1,000 words, very similar to why I mentioned that you should learn videos, sort of like how to video edit. Being able to take good photos, you can use it to engage your potential client, you can create brand awareness, and let people know more about your products. Again, this is another valuable skill if you're a marketer, as employers will value it. So it's obviously very useful to be able to show that you can do this in an interview. Once again, you can also charge people to sort of take photos of their wedding, birthdays, other events as a freelancer, so it's a good way to make some additional money. Another reason is that you will improve your Photoshop and Lightroom skills as you learn to edit photos better, as pretty much 90% of what makes a great photo is editing with LUTs, color correction, and other effects to essentially change that composition and style of a photo. A lot of people will just take a picture, they won't crop it, they won't fix the lighting, they won't do anything to it. They'll maybe just put a filter on and upload it to Instagram. Learning how to actually take those photos to the next level really is impressive when you can compare sort of the different skill levels of two photographers, especially if someone's just using like their iPhone. On a personal level, again, it's going to make your Instagram look amazing. You'll be able to have this be more than a skill. It's a great hobby to be able to sort of like de-stress at the end of a day. It's perfect as it encourages you to go outside, to go traveling, to go for walks with your camera, find new places whilst listening to a podcast. It allows you to capture memories and just appreciate and pay attention to the world around you. I learned photography when I was at university, and sort of through challenging myself to take a photo every single day for an entire year, called Project 365, and I did it for an entire year. I had a camera by my side, and my photography skills improved dramatically over that year as you slowly start to train your eye to see different ways of viewing the world, and it's something that I will 100% do again in the future. All of these skills together have allowed me to be creative for myself, as well as being able to offer those services to my own clients, to the job that I work in as a marketer, and I wouldn't trade them for anything else. I think that having these skills is very, very useful, and they're pretty easy to pick up on a basic level. So I think that you should pick one of these and just start to learn those basics, and you'll find that if you are in your teens or early 20s right now, being able to develop these skills by the age of like 25, you're going to be in such a good position, and it's going to open up so many doors for you and make you such a valuable person compared to someone who doesn't have these skills. Thanks for watching this video. If you learned something, please give the video a like, as it really helps out the channel. And also be sure to check out the playlist of some of the videos that can help you learn some of these skills in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.